Well, what the heck? It's a free shot. So, yeah, in this position here, we're going to have the artillery. Uh, let's see. We got here and here, and they're going to combine. So they got 5 against 4. They're going to fire on those chaps there. So it's a 1-to-1. Let's see what they get. They get 1-to-1 with a 5, which is attack or retreat, which is ignored because they're bombarding artillery. They don't get any negative results. Okay, so then we move on down the line, and then we see here, this situation here. Let me think about this a little bit first and decide which one we're going to attack first. Okay, so the idea, it's sort of a wing and a prayer, but the idea is to have these chaps of the left reserve cavalry are going to attack the first cuirassier here. It's a 1-to-1. The idea is if they can push them back and then they can follow up, they would have that unit there surrounded. So let's see what we can do in that department. Right, so it's a 1-to-1 with no other modifiers. And we've got a 2, which is a defender retreat. Yes, it is indeed. So let's do that. So this is a pretty significant one. The Allies are attacking with 10 against, I believe it is Durut. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. With his 4th Division of Delon's 1st Corps. So it's 10-4. That's 2-to-1. And wait a second. Yep, it's 2-to-1, and I don't believe there are any modifiers. So let's roll that up. And we get a 2, which looks encouraging. We get defender retreat, which means because they're surrounded, they're destroyed. Okay. So there we go. They've gone. And as we can imagine, the horsemen of the General Reserve have got their blood up. And they've moved forward to occupy the position. The chaps, I think it's Lambert. These chaps here could, under the amendments, they could move forward to this position here because that's adjacent to where they are, and it's also adjacent to the hex that the enemy were in. But they are shielded, and they've elected wisely, I believe, not to do that. So some serious French losses occurring here. And now we come to the very end of the line here. So we've got, what was it? No, these chaps have already fought, haven't they? Of course they have. So nothing going on there. So yeah, that combat's already been resolved all down there. And instead we have actually the first Prussian attack. Yeah, so we've got the Prussian cavalry and artillery for a total of 6 attacking the Guard light cavalry there. So that is indeed 2-to-1. And we'll see what we get out of that lot. Well, we get a 4. 2-to-1 with a 4, which is indeed defender retreat. Yes. And, of course, as we can see, behold, that's the gift that keeps on giving from the fact that these chaps here in the left reserve were able to move forward because, yes, they are indeed surrounded. So defender retreat means eliminated. So that's another French loss. Oh, my goodness me. Okay, there we go. And then, of course, these chaps, not the artillery, but the cavalry would now have the option to follow up. Yeah, I say let's keep the pressure on. So they're going to go ahead and follow up to here, I would say. Or they could, no, wait a minute. The enemy was there, so they could follow up to there if they wanted to. Interesting. I think they're going to follow up to here. And those are all the combats. So that means now, down here, if we take a look, the French have now lost 9 strength points. So it wasn't looking good for the Emperor before, and now it's looking even less good. Of course, the Emperor will finally be able to do whatever he likes with these chaps here. Although, of course, he's got to keep a weather eye on Plancenoit, because if either of those is occupied by the enemy, that's a loss of 6 points to the French. And then, so yeah, they can do what they like with them, and they, of course, it's time to call in the big guns, surely. And, you know, might go with history and send the young guard. I don't think you need the big ones, but send the young guard at least over to Plancenoit. And then the chasseurs and the grenadiers of the guard will go forward and hopefully cause something rather splendid to happen up in the centre. We shall see. Okay, so here we are at the end of the French movement in turn 4, which is 5:30, and there hasn't been a huge amount of movement. There's certainly combat going on significantly. Let's see, we had the 5th Division of the 2nd Corps was able to complete its move up here to get involved in the attack on Hougoumont, and that means that now they have actually got a 3-1 against Hougoumont, because they've got 12 and 4 is 16, and that's 19, and these are with 6, of course, so they've got 3-1 against them for the first time. Let's see, over in this direction, all 3 units of the Imperial Guard have moved north. The decision was made by the Emperor to include the Young Guard in the final great assault, as it were, and he's left it to lesser units to hang on to, or to keep the enemy out of the hexes of Plancenoit, and we'll see. Time will tell if that was a wise decision, but it was more or less concluded that without the Young Guard getting involved up there, it didn't look good. So, okay, then otherwise we've had these chaps who are now permitted to move freely. They've moved down towards Plancenoit. Well, they've occupied the northernmost half of the village. And a slight relocation here. This unit here's put himself there. It's a pretty good position, because it means that now, although they can be attacked by these chaps who will, if you've got defending cavalry and the attacker has no cavalry, the maximum they can get is 3-1. So if they attack them, there'll be a 3-1. And the important thing is that this infantry unit here, which can come on in the next turn if it wishes, won't be able to attack the cavalry, because remember, it takes an extra point to be able to move into the cavalry zone of control. So therefore they would have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get into there, and so they can't do it. So anyway, come to think of it, not that that would make much difference anyway, because it wouldn't increase the odds, would it? No, we've already established that. Anyway, so they can have a go at them, and hopefully for the French, the cavalry would just retreat if they need to. Okay, up here, these cavalry are not able to withdraw from these cavalry here, so they have to attack them. So they're going to be, attacking here with the aid of the artillery. So it's going to be, I think we ended up with, I think we're going to have we're going to have a 1-2 there. We're going to have a 1-1 there. That's what we're going to do there. And then over here, it was decided that there were risks that could be taken. They were having a look at the Guard heavy cavalry attacking the Dutch-Belgian cavalry, and then leaving these poor wretches, the 11th Cuirassier, to deal with both those units. But the problem is that would be a 1-3, which is pretty dreadful. So therefore, instead it was decided we'd have a 1-1 here, and here we got 3 and 1 is 4, so we have a 1-1 there as well. So that's what we've ended up with for the attacks. Right. So let's go ahead and do those. We've got, in this situation here, we've got 1-1. There are no modifiers, they're not in buildings, and they're not shielded. So we're going to roll that up, see what we get. We've got a 2. 1-1 with a 2 is defender retreat. Okay, so that's an encouraging result for the French there. All right, so we have defender retreat. These chaps here Let's see. They could displace them. They're not going to do that. Can't go that way, so they could go to here or to here. Okay, and then of course the cavalry, if they wish, can follow up. But of course, if the cavalry moved up to this position, they would then have put themselves into a surrounded situation. So let's see. I think generally speaking, I want them to be here so that they're closer to these chaps here who need support, as far as I can see. And then they could follow up, but they're not going to do that. So then we have the next combat, which is there, which is 1-to-1. The cavalry against the cavalry. Oh, with a -1. That's right, with a -1, because they're French cavalry. But they rolled a big old 6. So it's 1-to-1. 6 becomes a 5. So that's attack a retreat. So the Guard Heavy Cavalry are going to have to retreat. So they can't go there. They can't go there. So they're going to have to go here or here. And they're going to retreat. Let's see. Turn them around. Okay. So if they retreat down there, that would mean that on there, let's see if they go there. I think that would be better. Yes. Okay. And then we had, these chaps don't have to move. They don't have to pursue because they weren't attacking. They were being attacked. One of them can electively move forward at this on this occasion, and I'm not sure that they will, because let's see, they could move to here. Let me think about this for a sec. Yes, the hour is becoming late, and so I think Wellington has decided he's actually going to take the Dutch Belgians and have them go forward to here, because that is adjacent to where they are and adjacent to where the enemy was. And the amendments, that's allowed. They're going to go forward to there, which means that on the following... was that? No, hang on, I'm getting confused here. That would mean on the following turn, they would have to attack them. I don't think I want to do that. I was just trying to interfere with things around Hougoumont, but I don't think I want to interfere with it to that extent. So they're going to stay there, I believe. Now we have the big important one. We have Hougoumont. So we have a +1 on the die if any defender is shielded, which is the case. So as we've established already, it's a 3-to-1 attack with a +1 on the die. So let's see what we get. Oh, and it's a 1, which is the best you can do. So it's 1 with a +1. So that means it's defender retreat, which means nothing. Because you shielded defender in a building may ignore defender retreat. Yes, they are shielded. And so just making sure it's pretty darn important. If they hadn't had the +1, they would have been eliminated, but they've got the +1 because they're still shielded. So even with 3-to-1, they're still hanging on to Hougoumont. All right. Morale is sinking around in the French hearts at this point. I mean, you better believe it. Let's see. So we also have French artillery. Can fire off some desultory fire. These chaps, of course, have already fired because they supported the attack against Hougoumont. So we have these chaps here, the Grand Battery, the Guard Artillery. Let's see, they could fire, but it's like 1-to-2. Is there any possible reason for doing this? If they were firing at them, it would be 1-to-2. If they were firing at them, it would be 1-to-2. 1-to-2. And they're shielded, so there is no defender retreat result. 1-2. Just going through the mechanics of it. There's no point in them shooting at anyone as far as I can see. No, because it's 1-to-2, so you can't possibly get a defender retreat result. If you could get 1-to-1, you'd be okay, but you can't because they're worth 6, they're worth 7, they're worth 6. 1, 2, they're too far away. Okay, wisely Right, and so we go across the line, and where else have we got combat then? We got combat here, so we said we were going to have 1-to-1 here, and it's 1-to-2 here. So I'm going to do the 1-to-1 first, I think. Let's have a look at that. Right, the artillery firing at the Prussians. And okay, looks like a good result. So it's 1-to-1 with a 1. That's a defender retreat. So the defenders, Prussian cavalry, are going to have to retreat. So they've got a lot of options open to them. They could go 1, 2, 3. There are 3 hexes they could go to. Let's see, what's going to be the best to interfere with the French plans? I think they'll go to here. Okay, so we'll go to there. Just 1 second. And of course the artillery doesn't follow up, doesn't have that option. So now we've got the first cuirassier here up against the left reserve. So it's it's 1-to-2. And with a -1 because they're French cavalry, so we've rolled a 2. So 1-to-2. Let's see, 1-to-2 with a 2. Missed it by 1. That's attack or retreat. So these chaps are going to have to retreat. So because of enemy zones of control, there and there and there and there, they're going to have to retreat either that way, displacing them, or they can retreat this way, displacing them. I think, let's see, that way displacing them, or there. So they would be there. So it forms a nice sort of corner. I think I would rather the stronger units to be in front. So yeah, I think they'll displace them. So they will have to shunt that way, and they will go to there. I'll turn them around so we can keep track of who's moved. There we are. They've had to displace, I suppose they could displace to there. I think I prefer that. Okay. Yeah, so the French, oh boy. Yep, the French have caused no casualties and have gained no real estate, as you might say. Oh, I mean, isn't it typical? It is turn 4 for the Allies. It is 5:30. And let's see, where's my pointing instrument? Right. Both His Grace the Duke of Wellington and His Highness the Prince Blücher have decided to press aggressively against the French. They could just stand back, and if they don't lose any forces, they will certainly win the engagement. The French have already lost 9, but the French could potentially take Hougoumont. They could potentially press forward with the Guard and take La Haye Sainte. So, as an insurance policy, they basically decided to pretty well attack wherever they can, as long as it doesn't involve giving up the shielded status of the Anglo-Allied forces. Okay, we got the Prussians, of course, and there was a Prussian unit that was held back, as we will remember, and these chaps have come on here, so they've come on there, 1, 2, 3, 4, they've gone that far forward. These chaps down here were now free to move into the zone of control of the, what do we got? It looks like the 8th cuirassier. Let's zoom in on that one. Oh, well, let's call it the 5th. Okay, down here. And they can get a maximum of 3-to-1 against them because with the amendments, because the defender is cavalry and there is no attacking cavalry. So that's what's going on there. All right. So this chap has just moved into a useful position, keeping an eye on Plancenoit. Be nice if the Prussians could get rid of this chap in some way, and then we'd have 2 4-4s down here to threaten Plancenoit. Up here, we've got the 3-5 cavalry has relocated down here and is up against this 1-5 cavalry there. What I've done is I've used some markers on there. There were quite a few going on, so I wanted to make sure that I got the numbers right when doing the video description, so that's what I've done. Okay, then let's see, moving up then, we've got these 2 infantry units have gone against, of course we are sort of covering things up a bit here, so let me get some tweezers in play. And right, so we're going up against 2 infantry units going up against the artillery. It is here, isn't it? Yeah, it's the 1st Corps. Looks like the 1st Corps' artillery there. Okay, so it's 4 4s against there, 2 to 1. Then here we have a bit more dynamic. We have a 3 to 1, and let's see who's contributing to that. That's being contributed. That's right. We got these. They're a 2-5. It's a cavalry unit. Is it a cavalry unit? I think it is. Yeah, it's a cavalry unit there. They're a 2-5, and they're being attacked by the 3-5 cavalry there, the left reserve, and also the artillery as well. Ah, no, whoa. That's right. I think you do a shift left shift 1 column if attack has Prussian and Anglo-Allied. Ah, yes, that's right. Harder to coordinate, and I think there was something about theoretically trying to avoid friendly fire or something like that. So, so that instead becomes a 2 to 1. So I'm going to change that.